We're cracking open Elektron's Syntakt drum machine today, specifically their OS 1.30 update. And let me tell you, this isn't just a tweak here and there.
Well, absolutely not. This is a major overhaul. They've really breathed new life into the instrument.
It's like they took everything great about the Syntakt and said, how can we make this even more fun?
And powerful. Don't forget powerful. One of the things that struck me is how they're building bridges between their instruments.
Yeah, like raiding the sound library of the analog Ritium, 4 new sound machines straight from its big brother. That's huge.
You know, it's really exciting, that iconic SID chip sound. It's here in the Syntakt.
Okay, hold on. For those who weren't glued to a Commodore 64 back in the day, what exactly is a SID chip and why should we be freaking out?
Imagine the coolest, most charming 8-bit sounds you've ever heard. Like those classic chip tunes, that's the SID chip. Pure nostalgia. And now we have the SYCHIP machine in the Syntakt.
So we can inject a little retro gaming vibe into our music. I'm sold. But SYCHP isn't the only new kid on the block, is it?
Not even close. For the drummers out there, we have 2 new acoustic drum machines, BD Acoustic and SD Acoustic. These things are killer.
Do they live up to the hype? What can they do?
If you're going for a more organic, realistic drum sound, these are your new best friends. Punchier kicks, snares with real snap, they really round out the sonic palette.
It's like they knew exactly what was missing. And of course, no drum kit is complete without a versatile hi-hat. Enter HHUOB.
This isn't just a hi-hat machine. Don't be fooled. This thing can get seriously weird. Metallic percussion, clangy bells, you name it.
It's like they give you all these tools and just say, go wild, experiment. And speaking of experimentation, we haven't even touched on Euclidean sequencing yet. Things are about to get mathematical.
Don't worry, you don't need to be a math whiz to appreciate this. Imagine sprinkling seeds on a spinning plate. They spread out in these really interesting geometric patterns, right?
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah.
But how does that translate to music?
Think of those seeds as musical notes. Euclidean rhythms are all about creating these complex but incredibly organic sounding grooves. It's a technique that artists like Aphex Twin and Fortet have used to amazing effect, and now you can do it right on the Syntakt.
Talk about next level stuff.
Ah,
This OS update is already blowing my mind. We're just getting started. It really does feel like they've unlocked a whole new level of creative potential here.
oh, for sure. And speaking of unlocking potential, let's talk about the workflow improvements in OS 1.3. They've really listened to user feedback, and it shows.
You know I'm all about those workflow hacks. What have they done?
One word, page loop. Ever find yourself like deep in sound design mode, tweaking parameters, but the sequencer keeps playing?
Ugh, yeah, it completely kills the vibe and ruins my focus.
Say goodbye to those days? With page loop, you can isolate a specific page in your sequence and loop it independently.
So I can tweak sounds, build out fills, anything really, without the rest of the sequence getting in the way.
Exactly. It's like having a mini sound design studio within the Syntakt. A small change with a huge impact on workflow.
I can already imagine how much more I could get done. It's those subtle quality of life improvements that make all the difference.
Right. And they didn't stop there. How many times have you stumbled onto a killer sound by accident? Just messing with parameter.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
But then I can never remember how I got there. So frustrating.
Well, say goodbye to those happy accident heartbreaks. OS 1.30 lets you save parameter locks directly from the sequencer trigs.
Wait, seriously? That is huge. So now those performance tweaks are part of my sound design process.
Precisely. They've blurred the lines between performance and sound design in a way that just makes sense. Oh, and one more thing.
Hit me.
They added a random pattern name generator.
Okay, maybe not as groundbreaking, but I have to admit, I love that they're having a little fun with it.
Exactly. It's all about making music more playful. But don't let the fun stuff fool you. There are serious under-the-hood improvements, too. The whole interface is snappier, more responsive.
Which is critical for a hardware instrument. That immediacy, that responsiveness, it's everything.
Agreed. So yeah, we've covered a lot of ground with the new OS, all the shiny new features, the workflow enhancements.
It's easy to get lost in the new toys, for sure. But it's important to remember what makes the Syntakt special in the first place. This update wouldn't be half as exciting if it was built on a weak foundation.
Absolutely. And I think what continues to impress me about the Syntakt is how much they've packed into such a compact package. It's remarkable.
Seriously. Analog and digital synthesis, drums, a powerful sequencer, effects, performance features. It's like a Swiss Army knife of music production.
And yet it doesn't feel cluttered or overwhelming. It's that elegant balance of power and immediacy that makes it so special. You can dive right in and start creating, but there's also incredible depth there. You'll be discovering new things for years to come.
That's the mark of a great instrument, right? It grows with you.
Yep.
Whether you're a total beginner or a seasoned pro, there's something here for you.
And that's before you even start digging into the variety of sounds. 39 sound-generating machines, from classic analog drums to weird digital textures and everything in between. It's a sound designer's dream.
It's like they threw everything they had at it. And the modulation possibilities, the LFOs, the effects routing. You can create some seriously dynamic and interesting sounds.
And let's not forget its prowess as a live performance tool. The Syntakt is made to be played, tweaking parameters, launching sequences, improvising. It's all so intuitive.
You can tell it was designed by musicians, for musicians. It's all about giving you the tools to express your creativity. And speaking of creativity, let's talk about the sheer sonic potential here. We've barely scratched the surface of what this thing can do. And the crazy thing is, there are over 1,000 presets to get you started. 1,000. You don't even have to be a sound design wizard to make this thing sing.
Right, and they're not just throwaway presets either. These are really well-crafted starting points.
Yeah, like sonic jumping off points.
Exactly. But, and here's the thing, it's when you start digging deeper, exploring those 39 machines, getting your hands dirty with the LFOs and effects, that's when the Syntakt really becomes yours.
It becomes an extension of your creativity.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the external gear. We've been talking about the Syntakt in isolation, but this thing can be the brain of a much larger setup.
Oh yeah, MIDI capabilities galore. I mean, you can hook up your favorite vintage drum machine, run it through the Syntakt sequencer. The possibilities are endless.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it, and that's what excites me the most about this update. It's not just about adding features, it's about expanding the horizon of what the Syntakt can be.
It's future-proofing it, in a way.
And Elektron seems committed to that evolution. They're listening to the community, adding features, constantly refining the workflow. It really feels like they want this to be the ultimate creative tool.
Which is great for us, the users. So we've covered a lot of ground today. Features, workflows, sonic possibilities. If there's one thing I want listeners to take away from this deep dive, it's this. Don't be afraid to experiment.
100%. The Syntakt is meant to be explored, pushed to its limits, get lost in the menus, make mistakes, stumble upon happy accidents. That's where the magic happens.
And that's how you find your sound. And who knows, maybe you'll discover the next big thing.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would indeed. All right, everyone, that wraps up our deep dive into the sonic world of Elektron's Syntakt OS 1.30. Now go out there and make some noise.